Hi, I'm John Kieran, Chief Juicer of BrainJuicer, and I'd like to introduce the rest of the C-suite to you. This is Alex Batchelor, Chief Operating Officer, who joined a year ago. Alex, you're still smiling?
Still here, still laughing.
And James Geddes, our Chief Financial Officer. Come on, James, how long have we been working together?
Been here 8 years. I think I met John 9 years ago, so it's been a while.
And you see, there's no tie now. This is, I realise for potential investors, you really, this is the shape of things to come. Very quick introduction to BrainJuicer, and then we'll kind of review 2010 and what's coming in 2011. BrainJuicer, slightly strangely named company, but it's appropriate. We are trying to reinvent market research. It's a great industry, we love it, we're fascinated by people, what makes people tick, what makes them do things, buy things. And the trouble with market research is I'm afraid it's also been a very conservative industry. And it's not really known for being particularly sexy or interesting. And yet, what is more interesting than human nature and understanding how people tick? And all we're doing, the secret sauce, is we're mining the world of psychology, sociology, behavioral economics, in addition to statistics, and because there have been basically breakthroughs in the understanding of people and how we make decisions, which the rest of market research seem to have ignored. All right? And what we're doing is we're translating those into very cool tools for better understanding and better predicting people's behavior. Proof that we're doing something interesting is the fact that clients seem to be very excited. It's challenging, by the way, so I wouldn't pretend that we're sweeping the industry yet, because it's challenging, but it is significant. And clients, we're now working with 11 of the world's top 20 companies, I think about 144 household names, and they like it. I mean, it's the more pioneering, it's the more edgy clients that are picking us up first, but year by year we are making progress. And the if you like, the short version of our plan is we're going to become a top 10 global agency. We're going to try and reinvent market research along the way. And the way to get there is innovation plus credibility. So we need to win, if you like, the hearts and minds through innovation to basically improve market research, and then credibility in terms of actually being a credible partner for these world's biggest companies. And to do that, we need to grow 40% year on year on year for about 9 years, and we get there. So, James, Alex, let's start with 2010. How are we doing?
Well, in spite of the fact that we're not chasing the numbers, we're trying to deliver great value research for our clients and trying to create an exciting place for people to work. We still delivered great financials in 2010. So revenues were up 38% to 16.4 million. Operating profits were up 35% to just over 2.2 million. Profit before tax was up 34% to, again, 2.2 million. Profit after tax was up 25% to 1.5 million.
And what's underneath those numbers? What's driving? So we were pretty close to what we tried to achieve. So what were the highlights and what were the lowlights? I mean, let's share it as it is, because that tends to be our style.
Well, if you look at the kind of split of our revenues across our regions, I guess the highlight was the fact that our two biggest regions, the UK and the US, did really well. They grew incredibly strongly. We also did really well in developing our new countries, and our newest countries, Switzerland and Germany, established countries, plus planting in Brazil and China. Holland actually went down due to management changes within that country, and also due to a big shift in buying patterns within their biggest client. So.
Yeah, I mean, Holland was tough, and it continues to be. We'll come on to that. Alex, 2010 then. Well, from the nuts and bolts of the business and the people side of things. I mean, what highlights, lowlights? How did we do?
One highlight is that a lot of our business is coming from repeat. So as we said, 89% of our business in 2010 came from clients that we'd already worked with in 2009, and that's a trend we very much want to continue. Yeah, we have to keep developing the share of wallet, as it were, in research spend from these very large clients, and there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow. In many of these big clients, they're probably spending less than 1% of their total research spend with BrainJuicer, so we have a lot of opportunity to continue that growth. I think the second bit was that we successfully launched, as we say, in 2 new countries and markets, and we managed to stress test some of our systems and processes, and we're able to cope with 40% growth year on year. Some of that's required us to do some very specific things, like introduce a new system. So we have this system called JC2, which is basically a shift from Access databases to SQL Server databases that will allow us to continue to grow for the next 9 years in the direction of a top 10 market research agency.
And it's like every great, chief operating officer, you make it sound easy. Oh, it was no problem. But the 2 countries were Brazil and China. This is not for the faint-hearted, is it? And the new system, Juicing Center 2, has been years in the development and is a really sizable piece of technology for a company our size. Yeah. Say a bit more.
Well, I think James will certainly show you how much we've invested in JC2 because for a start we'll start amortizing it, so you'll start to see it coming back through our P&L. But I think the JC2 system itself is just designed to remove a constraint on our growth. So that we can service more clients, that we can ask more questions and more respondents, that we can do it in a way that is quick, efficient, and effective in all the markets. And we've also got to build it in a way that allows us to continue to be flexible, because the rate at which we're inventing new products and new services requires us to put them on our new platform as well. And that requires always a little bit of juggling and a bit of know-how. But to be fair, there's lots of much smarter people behind me doing all the work.
And I think, from an innovation point of view, we introduced 2 new products last year as well, which was DigiVisuals, the strange world of research robots, which we won a couple of awards for, and I think are still making people's jaws drop, that we can actually mine the internet using research robots that represent a particular marketing construct as if they're a real person, is exciting. Genuinely cutting edge, exciting. Buzzmetrics is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, bought by Nielsen, and clients regard that as kind of version 1 technology. And DigiVisuals is the next generation, and we're still learning how to do it, but that is genuinely exciting and kind of recognized. The other one, Satisfaction, which is the much more kind of obvious side of market research, customer satisfaction, but getting feedback using our emotional measure, because after all, what is customer satisfaction if it isn't how do I feel as a customer? And yet the current way of doing customer satisfaction is broken up metrics of how would you rate the staff's appearance on a scale of from very scruffy to, and it's like it just doesn't capture what I actually felt when I went into the airport and had my check-in experience. So capturing that in a very emotional, very real way, which we've been doing for HSBC primarily, but also ABN and Orange, that's exciting, because I really do think we've got something that could be a world leader in how you do customer satisfaction.
And those kind of things are exactly what need us to build better systems, because again, the sheer scale of the feedback you tend to get in something like customer satisfaction is many thousands of respondents a day, rather than a survey you do once or twice a year with a few hundred people. So I think it's a bit like, it can be a tsunami of data, and we've got to build systems that cope with that. The other bit about our platform that really helps with things like customer satisfaction, we can make those surveys a lot shorter. Because effectively we have 2 fantastic tools. One is just asking you about your emotional response. It's a very quick part of the survey, usually takes a minute or 2. And the second bit is trying to understand the reasons behind that. What are the reasons why you feel happy or sad or angry? And again, we have a very quick, easy tool using mind readers to elicit that information. So we're finding that we can make the surveys a lot shorter and handle the sheer volume of response that you get in those kind of industries.
And talking systems, financial systems, because as we expand geographically, as we expand the number of products and the number of projects grows, exponentially, how do we keep control? Because James, you have set up a very tight, lean, centralized finance system, which is incredibly, efficient, and it's also, debtor days are, kind of sharp and held in control. But a little bit about again, you make it sound easy now that you've got it, but tell us a little bit about how you're going to kind of keep control.
Well, the philosophy is to keep things as simple as possible, which is harder as you grow because complexity is the natural kind of way of things, and to keep things as centralised as possible. So whilst we have nice, local, close-to-client account management teams in each of our geographies, and we're going to try and open up new offices to serve our clients better, we're going to try for as long as we possibly can to keep our overheads, our overhead functions, our financial arrangements, our technology platform centralised and shared across all of our regions. And if we can achieve that, then we can achieve a nice, low overhead, highly efficient and controlled structure.
Terrific. So 2011, let's give a little flavour, I guess, of what we're trying to achieve this year. I mean, we're still trying to get 40% growth and open new offices and new products, but what are the key things we have to do in 2011, in order to succeed, in order to achieve, that growth and to make sure that we've planted the seeds for 2012?
You articulated some of them already. One of them is we need to continue to innovate. The second one we need to do is we absolutely need to do a fantastic job for our clients, and we need to make sure we're measuring how happy they are so we know how much likely they are to continue to buy from us. We need to hire really, really good people, have a great system for bringing those people into kind of BrainJuicer, and we need to do all of that basic housekeeping that makes your systems and processes that bit more efficient and able to withstand the shocks and strains of getting larger every day. And some of that's not sexy and exciting, but it's day-to-day grunt, just making those things better.
So talking of HR, and people, James, I mean, you've been at the heart of doing a lot of, we're trying to make working for BrainJuicer as juicy as our innovative products. And talk to us a little bit about Drive. In order to get Drive, Dan Pink, is a book we read and we were inspired by, but you've been trying to translate this into the HR way of working, if you like, and I don't know, over to you.
We're trying to make BrainJuicer as interesting and as exciting a place to work, and that really means, using Dan Pink's terminology, providing people with autonomy so that they've got more freedom to do what they want when they want, and to the extent we can to bend our organisation around people's aspirations and people's particular talents. We're trying to create more mastery, and that really is all about kind of training and delivering people the sort of tools and techniques that they need to really do their job well. And we're also trying to create a real purpose to people's jobs. And we believe that the best way of doing that is to try and enable people to do the types of work that they really want to do. And if they are able to do that, then the theory is that they'll do a great job.
We're rather fond of a few books, and John Kay's Obliquity, was great. Obliquity is, if you do something awesome for your clients, your customers, profits will follow. Don't pursue profit in and of itself because it has a habit of disappearing. Do something fantastic and the profits will follow, and that's really what we're focused on. We're trying to do and make it a great place to work, because that's the way that it builds and it sustains and will achieve what we want to achieve, I guess. Any last thoughts?
I wish I'd known what was in Obliquity when I was a teenage boy trying to get out, pursue girls, because I think one of the great parts of its message is that the things you want most in life that make you happiness, you cannot pursue directly. You have to do the right thing, and those benefits then accrue to you. And I sadly wish I'd known that when I was a 17-year-old boy, rather than waking up to it rather belatedly now.
Very good. James, last thought?
Well, last thoughts that we haven't mentioned yet is also, and it's through Obliquity really, we've done the right things, we delivered great numbers, but our cash flow, cash flow is something that sometimes it's easy to forget for a growing company. We more than doubled our cash flow before our share buyback that we did in 2010 over 2009. So we're trying to focus on the right things and then let the numbers follow, and so far we're achieving that.
James, Alex, thanks, and we'll give you the next video update, I guess, at our interims in September, and hopefully there'll be more good news peppered with realities. There's always some realities in amongst it, and we'll always try and be completely open and transparent about the good and the not so good, because that's our start. But thanks.